I'll mute everyone. We will all make our way to seated in Sukhasana or easy pose cross legs. So as always, if you need to raise the level of your hips, sit up on a block or a blanket, and then just come to seated. So important to remember just to take a moment to stop before we start, isn't it? It's important to let our nervous system settle down. So just taking the flesh away from your sit bones. Begin to let go of the weight of your pelvis. And then begin to lift your spine up. Start to soften the shoulders, relax around the base of the neck. And then closing your eyes if you're comfortable to close your eyes. And just turning your awareness in. Just starting to check in with how everything feels tonight. So, starting with your outermost layer, noticing the skin, the muscles, the bones. How does all that feel? Is there anywhere that you can begin to let go of a little bit more tension as you start to settle? And then bringing your awareness to your breath, just watching the inhales and the exhales. And just allowing that natural rhythm or cadence of your breath to become established. You could watch the air at the tip of the nose. And as you begin to settle, you could start to think about adding maybe a count to the inhale, and then maybe 2 counts to the exhale. If you're comfortable with the Ujjayi breath, then you can bring that little bit of sound to the breath. So just essentially constricting slightly at the back of the throat, so that the inhales and the exhales become a little bit audible. It doesn't need to be a really loud sound, it's quite gentle and just helps us to control the breath as we lengthen and deepen. Starting to find a little bit more length up through the crown of the head with the inhales. And then with the exhales, softening around that length. Okay, on our next inhale, we'll just gently blink the eyes open. And then inhale, take the arms out around and up. As we exhale, come down onto the left fingertips and just come over into a little side stretch over to the left. So remember here that we stay heavy in the sit bones and try to get as much length as we can on the right hand side of the body, but just take it really gently. Start to warm up nice and slowly. You could maybe pulse a little bit there. You might want to explore that position a little bit. You can maybe turn the chest a little bit up, maybe a little bit down. You might find it feels okay to come a bit lower down onto the elbow, but just do whatever feels nice. How does your body feel? Maybe you pulse it there, as always. Just move in whatever way feels appropriate. Okay, on our next inhale, we'll come up, but come straight into a twist. So the right hand comes to the outside of the left knee, left hand comes behind you. Sit up as tall as you can, inhale. And then as you exhale, gently twist. Try to turn from above the waist when you twist. Inhale, find length. Exhale, gently twist. And again, inhale, find length. And then exhale to gently twist. On the next inhale, come forward. We'll bring the arms out, around and up. Gaze up and then exhale, hands down through heart center. Okay, bring the hands onto the knees and we'll just do a couple of upright cat-cows here. So inhale, bring the chest forward, upper arms come back, shoulder blades move towards each other, and then exhale, rock back. You can kind of use your hands around your knees as an anchor, chin to the chest, and then inhale, come forward. Exhaling to come back. So just see how this movement feels. Be gentle to begin with. And then you might want to start to increase the movement. You might want to explore this shape a little bit. You might want to be doing some circles, some swaying from side to side. So again, whatever feels nice in your body, just allowing everything to warm up gently. You might just want to stay with the sort of standard upright cat and cow as well, or come back to that if you want to. Just mix it up, do whatever. Okay, we'll come back to upright, and then inhale, take the arms out, around and up, and then down onto the right fingertips, coming into the side stretch first. So heavy in the left sit bone, start to reach through the left fingertips, and again, explore that. So if it feels nice to move a bit there, move. You might want to pulse it, you might want to turn the chest a little bit down or up. Just do whatever feels nice in your body. Where are the stiff bits? You're just going to very gently begin to move into them, and you can combine all of those things. As always, it's your practice, so do whatever you feel that you need to. Okay, on the next inhale, we'll come up straight into the twist, left hand to the outside of the right thigh, right hand behind. Inhale to find length, and then exhale to gently twist. Inhaling to find length, and then exhale, gently twist. Remember, try to twist from above the waist. Inhale, find length, and then exhaling to gently twist. Okay, on the next inhale, we'll come forward, we'll bring the arms out, around and up as we do, and then hands down through heart center. Okay, back to the hands on the knees, and then just a couple more in upright cat-cow. So inhale forward, and then exhale back. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. If you prefer to do circles here, you can just do the circles. So that's quite nice, isn't it? Just to sort of warm up a little bit into the low back, maybe the back body. Or you can stay with the upright cat-cows, but just try to really pay attention to what you feel, where you feel it, and move in whatever way feels appropriate. Okay, we'll come back upright, and then we'll make our way down onto our back. So just go down in a nice straight line, and when you get all the way down, draw the right knee into the chest, stretch the left leg away. And then use your exhales to bring that right knee in a little bit closer. You might start to take the knee a little bit from side to side. You might start to draw some circles with the knee, whatever, what feels nice in that right hip. And then we'll come back to static there, stretch the right leg up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers behind the thigh or around the calf, and then draw the leg towards you, pointing and flexing the foot or drawing circles, whatever feels nice there. And you can make this stretch as intense or not as you like, can't you? So you can keep it really gentle, you can stay around the back of the thigh, you can start to work the hands up a bit more at the back of the leg and make it a bit more intense if that feels appropriate. And if you wanted to, you could bring the head and shoulders up there as well, start to warm up the core. But again, up to you, do whatever feels nice. Try to keep the low back grounding down as always if you're doing the lifting of the upper body. Okay, taking an inhale and then exhale, releasing the head and shoulders back down. We'll bend the left knee, sole of the foot to the mat, bend the right knee, flex the foot, and then come straight into thread the needle. So right hand comes through the gap, and then meeting your left hand either behind the left thigh or around the shin, and then just easing your way into that stretch there. So you can move around here as much as feels appropriate. And if your hips are quite tight, sometimes just those little adjustments make a big difference, don't they? So just start to warm up really gently into the outside of the right hip. Okay, from there, we'll release the left foot down, cross the right leg over just like you're sitting in a chair, and then bring both knees in from there. And just give yourself a little squeeze. You can make that more intense by taking the hands down the shins, take the ankles, maybe take the outer edges of the feet and come into a full sort of reclined cow face pose there. So just do whatever feels appropriate. And again, you can move here. So if your hips are tight, you might find this really intense. And you can just start to gently warm up into them before we start to move tonight. Okay, we'll release, let the left foot come down, take the arms out to the side in a T, pick the hips up about 1 inch to the right, inhale and then exhale, let both knees make their way over to the left. So we're just coming into a twist. If that is really intense for your low back, then maybe just uncross the legs, but try to let go of the weight of the legs completely, use the back of your right shoulder as an anchor. And then use your breath to settle you into that twist. So with the exhales, can you let the back of the right shoulder feel heavier? Can you let the knees make their way a little bit more towards the floor on the left-hand side. Maybe you turn your gaze over the right shoulder as well. Okay, on the next inhale, we'll bring the knees back up and across, re-centralize, and then stretching the right leg away, bring the left knee into the chest, and then just use the exhales to draw the knee in a little bit closer. And if it feels nice to just move about a bit there, you can, as always, a little bit of sideways movement, a couple of circles with the knee, just whatever, because it's always surprising, even in this really simple pose, you find some quite tight areas, don't you? So just gently move into them. Okay, then we'll stretch the left leg up, interlace behind the thigh or around the calf, and then just warm up a little bit into the back of that left leg, pointing and flexing, drawing circles, whatever feels nice. You might want to bring the head and shoulders up again, so if you're doing that, press the low back down, navel draws in, making that as intense or not as you want to. Again, if the head and shoulders are lifting, try to keep the shoulders relaxing down away from the ears and make sure that your low back is pressing down. Taking an inhale and then exhale to release. The head and shoulders come back down, bend the right knee, flex the left foot, and then come straight into thread the needle. So again, your version, hands can come behind the thigh, maybe you come around the shin, and then you just warm up into that left hip by moving in whatever way feels nice. So just paying attention to the sensations that you have and what you feel and where you feel it. And you can just gently move into any little places that you need to. Okay, from there, we'll release the right foot down, cross the left leg over just like you're sitting in a chair, and then bring the knees in from there. And you might find that a little bit more intense. So you're going to be really gentle if you need to. You might take the hands down the shins, you might take the ankles, you might take the outer edges of the feet, and then move again there in whatever way feels nice. Just remember to try and stay as relaxed as you can where you feel the stretch. So you want to find that softness wherever you can. Okay, we'll release that. The right foot comes down, arms out to the side in a T. Pick up the hips about an inch to the left. Inhale and then exhale, let the knees come over to the right. Try to stay heavy in the back of the left shoulder. And again, uncrossing the legs if that is too intense for your low back. And then use the exhales just to soften any amount more into your twist. So with each exhale, let the back of the left shoulder feel heavier. Maybe you let the legs feel a little bit heavier, making their way over to the right as well. Maybe you turn your gaze over the left shoulder as well. Okay, on the next inhale, come back up. We'll uncross and re-centralize the hips, draw the knees into the chest, start to rock back and forward. You can do this a couple of times, just quite nice for the spine. Give your spine a little bit of a massage, and then we'll come all the way up, across the shins, and make our way straight over. You thought I was going to come to boat pose then, didn't you? No. Come straight over to all fours. Okay, and then once we get to all fours, make sure you stack your joints as always. We're going to do a little bit of wrist warm-up today. So it's really important that we learn to place the hands properly, isn't it? And push the hands into the mat so that we use our forearms and our upper arms to support the wrist joints a little bit. So spread the fingers nice and wide. Try to get the index fingers point forward, spread the other fingers as wide as you can. Get as much of the hand down on the mat as you can so you really feel the contact with the palms of the hands and the mat. And then inhale, bring the weight forward any amount, and then exhale, bring it back. So this can be a really small movement if it needs to be. So if your wrists are sensitive, just keep the movement small. But try to keep that contact with the hands and the mat, and that energetic pressing down with the hands. And then we start to engage the forearms a little bit more, and then we're supporting our wrists, because there's that danger of just kind of hanging out into our joints. And I know that I go on about all this stuff a lot, but the more that we practice it, the more that you can really feel a difference. So if you really press the hands down, you do feel that the forearms start to engage. You can think about lifting a little bit up out of the shoulders as well, so that we're not just kind of hanging into our wrist joints, which are quite little, fragile little joints, aren't they? Okay, we'll come back to the starting point. We'll turn the hands out, so the fingers point out to the side, and then just very gently sway a little bit from side to side. So again, it can be a really small movement if it needs to be. pay attention to how your wrists feel. Try to keep pressing the hands down again so that you're engaging the forearms. You're not just sinking into the wrists. Maybe you can try and be a little bit heavier in the fingers as well, and that also keeps the weight out of the wrists. Okay, coming back to central, we'll turn the fingertips back forward, and then this one will start to really feel our forearms. And I think, again, we're familiar with this as well. But as we inhale, we're going to lift the palms of the hands, keep the fingers all the way down to the mat. Thumbs lift as well, and then exhale, roll the palms back down. And then inhale to lift. It's like you're rolling them up. And then exhale, bring the palms back down. So the fingers are staying on the mat, but the thumbs are lifting as you lift the palms, inhale. And then exhale, roll them down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Try to pay attention to the sensations that you have in your hands. And try to get things moving in synchronized. Synchronicity with the hands. And I know that the forearms are beginning to burn probably, but just keep going. A little bit more if you can, keep going. You can make it more intense as always by bringing the weight a little bit further forward. But just do whatever feels appropriate. So it's a really nice way to work on our forearm strength that a little bit, honestly. I promise. Okay, coming back to static, we'll tuck the toes and come up into a downward facing dog. So hips up and back. And as soon as you get to your downward facing dog, come back to that contact that you have with your hands on the mat and see if you can really maintain it. And you're pressing the mat away with the hands, softening around the base of the neck. You can start to pedal into the legs or sway into the hips. Just do whatever feels nice, whatever little movement your body needs. Make sure that you're not tensing around the base of the neck. Start to think about drawing the shoulder blades up the back as well. Okay, on the next inhale, we'll take the right leg up, and then as we exhale, step it forward. So coming into our first runner's lunges, just make sure that the right knee's over the ankle, adjust the left foot if you need to, and then let the hips descend, back of the left thigh lifts. Start to think about the chest lengthening forward, shoulders draw down away from the ears. Any amount more can you let the hips descend, but then lift the back of the left thigh. So it's like opposing actions, isn't it? The hips are moving down, but the back of the left thigh lifts, and then the chest is lengthening forward. Okay, taking an inhale there, and then as we exhale, we're going to switch. So step the left foot forward and take the right foot back, and then let the hips descend. Back of the right thigh lifts, chest lengthens forward. Inhale, exhale to switch. Inhale again, exhale to switch. Inhale again, exhale to switch. Inhale again, exhale to switch. Okay, inhale again, and then exhale to switch. Okay, so we're back in the original position here. Just let the hips sink down, lift the back of the left thigh up. Okay, inhale, let the hips sink down, lift the chest any amount, and then exhale, send the weight back, straighten into that front leg any amount and fold over it, and then inhale, come back forward. So it's almost like a cat-cow this, isn't it? Try to get as much movement as you can into your upper back as you come forward. Lift the chest, and then exhale, come back. Inhale, come forward. Exhaling to come back. And then again, inhale, come forward. Exhaling to come back. Okay, inhale to come forward. Take the right foot a little bit further over to the right, and then bring both arms on the inside of the right foot, and then we'll come into a lizard lunge just for a couple of breaths. So maybe you want to let the left knee come down, maybe you want to adjust the position here, maybe you can come down onto your elbows, maybe you want to use blocks. So just find your version of your lizard lunge as you start to warm up a little bit more into the hips. Can you imagine in your lizard lunge that you've got a line coming from the inside of the groin on the right side to the inside of the right knee, and you're reaching away along that line, and then the outer left hip, outer right hip even starts to squeeze in a little bit, and then you sink a little bit deeper into the hips there. Okay, optional extra for those of us that want it, we bend the left knee and we reach back and see if we can take hold of the left toes and just come into a nice quad stretch there. If you're on your left hand here in the twisted quad stretch, then make sure you're pressing that hand into the mat so you're lifting up away from the mat. Again, we're not just sinking into our wrist joint. All the time, think about protecting your joints. Maybe you can open that right shoulder a little bit more. Maybe you can bring your left heel a bit closer to your bum. Maybe not. That's quite intense, isn't it, after a few days off? Okay, taking an inhale, and then as you exhale, releasing if you have the left foot, Bring the right hand back, we'll heel toe the right foot back, lift the left knee and then step back to plank pose. Okay, I'm going to hold it in plank just for about 2 or 3 breaths, so you can drop the knees if you want to. Otherwise, make sure you're sucking the ribs in. Reach back through the heels, lengthen out through the crown of the head. Okay, taking a final inhale in plank, and then as we exhale, we can come down through the knees, or we can come all the way down through chaturanga, so it's up to you. Come all the way down to your front, and then once you're all the way down, untuck the toes. Inhale, press into the palms for cobra. But once you come up for cobra, can you draw the right shoulder back and then turn to gaze over it? So it's a little twisted cobra, and then exhale to come back down. And then inhale, come up, draw the left shoulder back slightly, gaze over it, little twisted cobra to the left, and then exhale to come back down. Okay, inhale, come up, straight down the center, keep the elbows drawing in, roll the shoulders back, and then as we exhale, find our way all the way back into downward facing dog, and then just take 3 breaths there. So moving again in any way that you want to when you get there, pedaling, swaying, whatever. How does your body feel now? Have you still got that good contact with your hands and the mat? And then on the next inhale, we'll take the left leg up, and then exhale to step it forward. Runners lunge, adjust, do what you need to. Make sure the left knee is over the left ankle, hips sink down, chest lengthens forward. Inhale there, and then exhale to switch. Right foot forward, left foot back. Okay, inhale there, exhale, switch. Keep going, inhale, exhale, switch. And again, inhale, exhale, switch. One more each side, inhale, exhale, switch. Inhale, exhale, switch. Okay, left leg, left foot is forward now, make sure the knee is over the ankle, then inhale, lift the chest, let the hips sink down, and then exhale, send the weight back, forward over that leg any amount, and then inhale, come forward, exhale, come back, inhale, come forward, exhale, come back. I've lost count already, keep going, inhale, come forward, exhale, come back. And then inhale, come forward, we'll find the lizard lunge. So take the left foot a little bit over to the left, both arms on the inside of the left foot. Right knee comes down, and then your version of this. So some people find it really easy just to come all the way down straight away, so do that. Others of us might want to use blocks to bring the floor closer. So do whatever feels appropriate for you. Start to let the hips descend any amount. Chest is lengthening forward, remember. Think about that line from the inside of the left groin to the inside of the left knee, and then you're reaching away along that line, lengthening along the line. Okay, come into the quad stretch as well if you want to. You can bend the right leg, see if you can reach back. Draw that left shoulder open. Make sure you're pressing that right hand into the mat so you're not sinking into the wrist, you're engaging the forearm. Maybe that right heel can come a little bit closer to your bum. Maybe you're nowhere near it at all and you're cursing me for this. It is an intense stretch, that, isn't it? And sometimes the hamstring just automatically goes into cramp there. So if it does, just release, relax for a moment. Okay, taking another breath and then we'll release. Right, left hand comes back. We'll bring the left foot back. Tuck the toes, right foot, step back to plank. I'm going to stay in plank for about 2 or 3 breaths again. So if you need to drop the knees, do. Suck the ribs in. Make sure you're pressing the hands into the mat in your plank. And then inhaling in plank. And then as we exhale, come down through the knees or come all the way down through chaturanga. Stay in control, whatever it is you do. And then once you're all the way down, untuck the toes. Inhale, press into the palms, come up for cobra, left shoulder draws back, gently gaze over it, and then exhale, come back down. And then again, inhale, come up, right shoulder draws back, gently gaze over it, and then exhale, come back down. Inhale, come up straight down the center, elbows in, shoulders roll back, and then as we exhale, find our way back into downward facing dog. We'll take 5 breaths this time and just observe how your body feels now in your downward facing dog. 1, make sure you've got that good contact with the hands and the mat. 2, can you find a bit of extra energy between the base of the index finger and the base of the thumb? 3, outer upper arms, start to spin them back. 4, and 5. Okay, inhaling to look forward, stepping, hopping, floating or walking forward. And then once you're there, forward bend. Okay, staying in a forward bend for a couple of breaths. Just heel toe the feet so that they're roughly hip width. Outside edges of the feet are parallel, toes point forward. Take first 2 fingers around the big toes, and then inhale to lift and lengthen the chest forward. Exhale to fold over the legs any amount. Knees can be soft here, remember. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Shoulders draw away from the ears. Chest lengthens forward. Exhale to fold. And again, inhale to lift and lengthen. And then exhale to fold. Start to lift up out of the big toes. The elbows draw out to the side. Maybe you can start to turn the sit bones a little bit more up towards the ceiling, but the knees can stay as soft as they need to. Draw the shoulder blades up your back and then completely soften around the base of the head and neck. Okay, releasing the toes. On the next inhale, we're going to come straight up into chair pose. So bending into the knees, have a look down, make sure that they're both doing the same thing. Shoulder blades start to draw down the back, lower ribs softening. Can you come a little bit deeper into your chair pose, Utkatasana? And again, a little bit deeper. And again, a little bit deeper. Maybe you'll turn your gaze up to your thumbs. Maybe you'll come a little bit deeper into your chair. And again, a little bit deeper. Okay, inhale. And then exhale to release. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider. Turn the toes out. I'm coming down into Balasana. I know some of us hate this. You can always, and I haven't said this recently actually, but we'll come down into it and I'll say, okay, so from standing upright, inhale. As you exhale, come down. Start to bend into the knees. Make sure the knees bend out over the toes. Now, if you really struggle with this and you've got knee issues, you can always sit on a block in your Malasana squat, actually. So you can always do that if you want to. It just makes it a little bit easier while you're working on this one. If you can come all the way down and you find it really easy, then remember to come up about 1 inch. So you don't just want to hang out into the hip joints. So come up about 1 inch and find a place where you're challenged. You can always pad out the heels, a little bit more buoyancy in the hips there. And then maybe you can come up about 0.5 centimetre a little bit higher. And I know that we struggle with this, so maybe you can come up a little bit higher and don't curse me. Okay, the left hand releases down to the fingertips and then reach the right arm up for a twist. Inhale and then exhale back to centre. Release the right hand down, inhale left arm up for a twist. And then exhale back to centre, palms together. Left hand down, inhale right arm up, twist. Exhale back down to centre. Right fingertips down, inhale left arm up for a twist. Exhale back to centre. Okay, come up about 0.5 centimetre again. Press the palms together, lift the chest. And then on the next inhale, we're going to press into the feet and come all the way back up. Well done. Bring the arms up and then release the hands down. Okay, heel toeing the feet roughly about hip width apart again. And then inhale, find Utkatasana. Nice deep chair pose. I can't feel my thighs already. Sit bones draw to the backs of the knees, shoulder blades down the back, lower ribs soften in. Gaze up at the thumbs. Inhale. Exhale for a forward bend. Inhaling for a halfway lift. Exhaling to find your way back. So as always, go straight to downward facing dog if you want to, or go through your vinyasa. Use the knees if you want to, or not. Inhale for a back bend, up dog or cobra. And then exhale back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, take the right leg up behind you, and then exhale, step it forward. Turn the left foot out and root it down, and then we'll come straight up for warrior one. So bending into the front knee, squaring the hips and shoulders forward as much as you can. Outer right hip back, left hip presses forward, back of the left thigh back as well. And you're trying to ground into that outer left heel, and lower ribs softening, heavy in the tailbone, come deeper into your warrior one. Maybe you can bring the palms together. Maybe you start to gaze up there as well. Can you start to wrap the triceps forward? Come deeper into warrior one if you can. Try to get that hamstring engagement. So it's as if you're trying to draw the right foot back towards the left foot, or the top of the thigh bone back into the hip socket, whichever way you want to think about it. Try and get that little bit of engagement there. And then come a little bit deeper if you can. Okay, on the next inhale, we'll straighten into the front leg, turn the hips and shoulders forward, release the hands to the waist. Have a little look at your back foot, make sure it's not turning out too much. And if you're wobbly, take your right foot a little bit further over to the right. Inhale to lift the chest. And then as you exhale, come forward over the right leg to your degree. Think about your chest lengthening forward. So as always here, you can bring the hands down the shin or the thigh. Maybe you use blocks, maybe the fingertips come to the floor, but wherever you are, inhale to lengthen the chest forward. Exhale to fold over the leg, any amount. Inhale to lengthen the chest forward, exhale to fold. And again, inhale to lengthen. And then exhaling to fold. Okay, just hanging out here for a couple of breaths. Keep drawing the right hip back. Left thigh presses back. Can you lift up out of the left hip? Can you find a little bit more length with the chest forward? Heavy into the outer left heel as well. Okay, from here, I'm going to be nice to your first round. We'll just bend the right knee, take the hands down, step back. You can go straight to downward facing dog, or you can add in a vinyasa. So abdomen or leave them out as always. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And then exhale back. Downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Right foot turns out, root it down, and then inhale for warrior one. And then sink into it. Outer left hip back, right hip forward. So as always, you can adjust these, modify these to suit you if you need to. You can make it more of a crescent lunge if you need to. Back of the right thigh back, weight into the outer right heel, and then heavy in the tailbone, sink deeper. Try to get that engagement, the back of the left thigh. Draw the left foot back towards your right instep, or you're imagining drawing the top of the thigh bone back into the hip socket. Whichever way works for you. Maybe the palms come together, maybe you wrap the triceps forward. Maybe you can turn your gaze up as well as you come deeper into your warrior one. And a little bit deeper. Okay, inhale, straightening into the front leg, releasing the hands to the waist, square the hips and shoulders forward. Have a look and make sure that back foot's not turning out too much. If you're really wobbly, take the left foot to the left. Inhale to lift the chest, and then exhale, come forward over the left leg. Left hip draws back, stop wherever you need to. Hands can be on the thigh, the shin, or on blocks or fingertips to the floor. Once you come down, try not to collapse anywhere. Keep pressing the right thigh back, lift up out the right hip, left hip draws back. Inhale to lengthen the chest forward, exhale to fold, and again inhale to lengthen, exhaling to fold, and again inhale to lengthen, and then exhaling to fold. Relax the head and neck, draw the shoulder blades up the back, keep lifting up out of that right hip. Don't let that right leg go to sleep as much as it wants to. Just letting your breath settle a little bit there. Okay, so first round, we're being nice and gentle here. I'm going to bend into the left knee, take the hands down, step back straight to your downward facing dog or through a vinyasa. Use the knees as well, remember, if you want to. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And then exhale back, downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths. 1, let your breath settle. 2, have you got that contact with your hands and the mat? 3, make sure you're not just sinking into the heels of the hands with your weight. 3, try and get as much of the palm down as you can. 4 and 5, and then inhaling to look forward, step, hop, float, or walk forward, and then exhale, forward bend. Inhale, come straight up into chair pose, Utkatasana, and then exhale to release. Okay, inhale straight back to chair. Check that the knees are doing the same thing. Draw the sit bones to the backs of the knees, upper arms lifts, lower ribs softening. Maybe you'll come deeper. And again, a little bit deeper. Gazing up if you can, a little bit deeper. Inhale, exhale for a forward bend. Inhaling for your halfway lift. Exhaling to step back. Downward facing dog or coming through vinyasa. Up to you. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale back. Downward facing dog, inhale the right leg up, exhale, step it forward, setting up for warrior one. Left foot turns out, root it down, and then inhale, arms forward and up, and then sink into the front knee, outer right hip back, left hip forward, back of the left thigh back. Remember, if you're more comfortable with the crescent lunge for your knee or for whatever reason, then feel free to adjust it. We don't want any discomfort in the low back or the knees. Palms together if you can, wrap the triceps forward, lower ribs soften in, come deeper. Try and get that hamstring engagement in your warrior one. Okay, inhaling, straightening into the front leg, release the hands to the waist, square as much as you can, adjust the feet if you need to. Inhale to lift the chest, and then exhale to come forward over the right leg. Use the hands, stop wherever you need to. Maybe you use blocks, maybe the fingertips come to the floor, and then inhale to lengthen the chest forward, exhale to fold. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold, and again inhale to lengthen. And then exhale to fold. Keep lifting up out of the left hip. Draw the right hip back. Extra weight into the outer left heel if you can, but relax the head and neck. Okay, if this front knee needs to be soft a little bit, remember, then allow it to be soft. It's not the easiest pose in the world, this, is it? Actually quite wide here as well. I don't know about you. Okay, so from here, we're going to bring the hands back to the waist and then be really strong in the legs to inhale and come back up. And then exhale, come straight back into warrior one. So sinking back into the front knee, outer right hip back, left hip forward, back of the left thigh back as well. Energize into your outer left heel if you can in warrior one. And then inhale, warrior one, exhale, warrior two to the left. So adjusting your feet, turning to the left, make sure you line up heel to arch, make sure your front knee's opening out, inner left thigh lifts, shoulders down the back, shoulder blades press in, widen across your collarbones, and come deeper into your warrior two. And again, a little bit deeper. Okay, from here, inhale, reach forward and find length with the right hand, and then bring the elbow to the knee and the left arm over, side angle pose. Turn your chest in your side angle pose. Adjust the tailbone, point it to the back of the left heel. Can you tuck your right buttock under to help you to turn the chest a little bit more? And still maintaining a nice evenness with the breath as well. Okay, from here, we're going to release the left hand to the hip, look to the right foot, take the right hand down, hop or step the back foot in, adjust the position of the right hand, and then we'll find a half moon pose, so left leg lifts, just as high as you're comfortable to, remember, and hopefully you've left yourself enough room to do that. Okay, remember, the more that you energize into that lifted leg, in theory, the easier it is. Can you start to turn your chest here to the left, any amount? Try to lift up out of the right hip, in your half moon pose, maybe the left arm reaches up. You can reach your fingertips up to the ceiling. Try and be as light as you can into the right fingertips. Okay, and then from here, left hand back to the hip, softening into the front knee. Maybe you can challenge your balance by lifting the lower arm, reach back and come back to warrior two. Well done. Crash land, get there, however, shoulders relaxed. Okay, inhaling warrior two, and then as we exhale, we're going to bring the left hand down on the inside of the right foot, pivot to the ball of the foot, back foot, and find a twist there. You can stay with the twist as always. If you're going to come further with this, make sure that your left wrist is directly below your left shoulder, and then if you want to, you can come straight to side plank there, so I'll leave it up to you. If you're coming to side plank, pin the left shoulder blade into the upper back, lift the right hip up, lift up through the right fingertips, stack the feet or stagger the feet. Try not to let the ribs flare forward as well in your side plank. Okay, nice little challenge coming out of this. We bend the right knee, bring it into the chest, look to the left hand, and then step the right foot back into our runner's lunge. Well done. Bring the hands down, frame the foot. Step back, straight to downward facing dog or through your vinyasa, up to you. Inhale for back bend, up dog or cobra. And then exhale back, downward facing dog, and then inhale the left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Turn the right foot out, root it down, and then inhale for warrior one. And then sink into it. Outer left hip back, right hip forward, shoulder blades down, lower ribs soften in. Try and get the hamstring engagement. Try and be heavy in the outer right heel. Triceps wrap forward. Maybe you turn your gaze up as well, come deeper. So it's much harder than we think, isn't it, warrior one? I think it's quite a challenging standing pose if you get all of the details going together. Keep drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Okay, inhaling to straighten into the left leg, release the hands to the waist, inhale to lift the chest, and then exhale, come forward over the left leg. Hands come down the thigh, the shin, or maybe to the floor, and then inhale to lengthen the chest forward, exhale to fold, inhale to lengthen, exhaling to fold, and again inhale to lengthen, exhaling to fold. Keep lifting up out of the right hip, back of the right thigh moves back. So as much as you want to sort of collapse that back leg, don't let it happen. Chest is still lengthening forward, but you can relax the head and neck. Okay, so it's quite challenging coming up from here, especially if you're quite wide. Bring the hands back to the waist and then inhale, come all the way back up. And then as we exhale, we'll come back into warrior one, bending the front knee, outer left hip back. Palms together if you can. Maybe you gaze up, warrior one, inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two to the right. So opening out, adjusting, checking your line up. Make sure you don't start to lean forward. Think about inner right thigh lifting, front knee opening out, shoulders down, shoulder blades in. Okay, on the next inhale, reach forward with the left arm and then elbow to knee and the right arm over, side angle pose. Turn your chest. Can you tuck the left buttock under to help you turn your chest a little bit more? In side angle, make sure the tailbone points to the back of the right heel. Keep lifting the inner right thigh as well. We'll find half moon pose from here. So right hand to the hip, look down to the left foot, take the left hand down, hop the back foot in and then adjust, and then raising the right leg to your degree. So it doesn't matter how high, especially to begin with, and then reach up with the right fingertips, lift up out of that left hip. The more that you engage that lifted leg, the easier it is in theory. Turn your chest. Lift up out of the left hip. Can you get a little bit lighter in the left fingertips as well there? Staying as relaxed as you can about the balancing definitely helps, doesn't it? You can always use a block as well for the left hand. And I know that we know that. Okay, right hand back to the hip. We soften into the left knee. See if you can challenge your balance, lifting the lower hand as you come back to your warrior two, slow-mo. And then sink into your warrior two. Adjust it when you get there if you need to. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, pivoting to the ball of the foot, back foot, right hand comes down, left arm reaches up for your twist. Staying with the twist if you want to. Otherwise, make sure you're stacking the joints if you're coming to the side plank variation. So your choice, but always make sure that you're stacking your joints. Press the back of the shoulder blade into the upper back. Lift the left hip up, lift up through the left fingertips. Keep the lower ribs softening in there as well. Try to maintain a nice evenness with the breath. You can have the lower knee down as well, of course, if you want. Okay, we bend the left knee, we bring it into the chest, we look towards the right hand and we step the left foot forward. Well done. Runner's lunge. From runner's lunge, take the hands down, step back, go straight to downward facing dog or come through a vinyasa, up to you. Inhale for a back bend, up dog or cobra. And then exhale back, downward facing dog, take 5 breaths. 1, calm your breath. 2, can you draw your shoulder blades up your back? 3, can you press your shin bones back a little bit more in your downward facing dog? 4. And 5, okay, inhaling to look forward, stepping, hopping or floating forward. And then once you're there, forward bend, inhaling to come up. Straight into chair pose, actually, I nearly forgot that. Straight into it, Utkatasana. Draw the shoulder blades down the back, inhale. And then exhale and release. I hope we're all still good. I'm going to swiftly move on. Find a chair pose, inhale. Sit bones to the backs of the knees, shoulder blades down the back, upper arms lift. Come deeper into your chair. And again, a little bit deeper. We're going to stay in our chair for a couple more breaths. So try to really feel what's happening. Do you have the same amount of weight in both feet? Are you getting that action? Sit bones to the backs of the knees. Can you soften the lower ribs any amount more? Can you bring the shoulder blades down your back any amount more? Can you come a little bit deeper into chair? Maybe you can turn your gaze up there as well. Come a little bit deeper. And again, a little bit deeper. And I say that, don't I? And then I look at the video and I'm not doing it myself. So I'm definitely coming a bit deeper now. Okay, inhale, exhale, forward bend. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale to find your way back to downward facing dog, getting there however you want to, of course. Inhaling for a back bend, up dog or cobra. And then exhale back, downward facing dog, inhale the right leg up. Exhale to step it forward, turn the left foot out, root it down, and then inhale, find warrior one. And then sink into it. Outer right hip back, the left hip forward, heavy with the tailbone. Try to energize into the outer left heel, but not if you're compromising your knee though. And I know I say that all the time. Palms together, wrap the triceps forward if you can, come deeper. Warrior one, and deeper again. Okay, inhaling to straighten into the front leg, release the hands to the waist, square the hips and shoulders, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, come forward to your degree, remember. Try and keep the hips squaring forward. Use the hands on the leg, use blocks or fingertips to the floor. Keep drawing the right hip back. Inhale to lengthen the chest forward. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold. And again, inhale to lengthen. Exhaling to fold. Just relax the head and neck, lift up out of the left hip, press into that outer left heel. And then bringing the hands back to the waist, strong in the legs as you inhale, come all the way up, and then exhale straight back into your warrior one. Nice deep warrior one as well. Get that hamstring action going as soon as you can. Maybe you gaze up. Okay, inhale. Exhale, warrior two to the right. Again, adjust, do whatever you need to. Take your time to get into your warrior two. Relax the shoulders down, press the shoulder blades into the upper back, heavy in the tailbone. Inhaling to reach forward with the right arm and find length, and then the elbow comes to the knee and the left arm comes over, side angle. Tuck the right buttock under to help you get to turn the chest. So I know that I say this all the time, but make sure your chest isn't facing down here. We want to start to think about turning it up towards the ceiling. Tucking the right buttock under helps you to do that. Left side ribs draw back, right side ribs press forward. Gaze turns up as well. Keep lifting the inner left thigh as well. Okay, left hand to the hip, look down to the right foot. Right hand comes down, hop the back foot in, adjust, and then find half moon. Your version. So remember, it doesn't matter how high that leg is lifting at the moment. Come whatever you're comfortable with. Keep lifting up out of the right hip. Turn your chest. Reach up through the left fingertips. Aiming eventually to stack that left hip above the right. Be as light as you can in the right fingertips in your half moon pose as well. Okay, left hand back to the hip, we start to soften into the right knee. Lift the lower hand, slow motion, reach back to warrior two. And then sinking into your warrior two. Big inhale, warrior two. Exhale, left hand down on the inside of the right foot, pivoting to the ball of the back foot to find a twist. Stay with the twist or come to your half plank or nearly to half plank. So you can come halfway as well, can't you? Or you can stack the feet or stagger the feet. Lift the right hip up, lift up through the right fingertips. Draw the lower ribs in there as well. So you don't kind of let everything flare forward and collapse. Keep bringing everything in. Keep breathing. And smiling. Okay, bending the right knee, bring it into the chest, look to the left foot, step the right foot forward. We're back in runner's lunge. From runner's lunge, you make your way to downward facing dog, getting there however you want to get there. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling back and downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Turn the right foot out, root it down. Inhale, warrior one. And then sink into it, outer left hip back, right hip forward. Back of the right thigh back, heavy in the tailbone. Palms together, lower ribs soften in, shoulder blades down the back. Feel the hamstring engagement as well if you can. Try and get into the habit of straight away you're finding that engagement. Okay, inhale, straightening into the front leg, releasing the hands to the waist. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale, come forward over the left leg. Use the hands, stop wherever you need to. Maybe you use blocks. Maybe the fingertips come to the floor. Inhale to lengthen the chest forward. Exhale to fold. And again, inhale, lengthen. Exhaling to fold. And again, inhale, lengthen. Exhaling to fold. Lift up out of that right hip. Keep reaching into that outer right heel. Left hip is still drawing back as well. So it's tempting to kind of collapse, isn't it? Don't. Find the engagement. Okay, bringing the hands back to the waist, inhaling to come all the way up, and then exhaling straight back into our warrior one, squaring the hips and shoulders, ribs in. Maybe you gaze up at the thumbs. Inhale, warrior one, exhale, warrior two, adjusting as wide as you need to. Make sure you don't start to lean forward. Tailbone is heavy. Shoulder blades press in to the upper back. Inhale, reach forward with the left arm and find length, and then the elbow comes to the knee and the right arm comes over, side angle. Left buttock tucks under to help you turn your chest in side angle. So we're starting to make this an open face twist here if we can. Inner right thigh lifts as well. Try not to lean too heavily into that left elbow. Okay, right hand to the hip, look down to the left foot. Left hand comes down, hop or drag the back foot in, and then adjust the position of your left hand to find half moon pose, right leg lifts. Engage into that right leg, reach the right arm up, aiming to stack the right hip over the left eventually, but just as close to that as you can. And eventually we lift the lower hand as well, don't we? If you can engage the right side of your torso, you might find you can get lighter in the left fingertips. Just try and stay as relaxed as you can. Keep lifting up out of that left hip though. So the more we stress about these, the harder it gets, isn't it? Okay, right hand back to the hip, softening into the left knee. Maybe you challenge the balance, lifting the lower arm as you start to slow motion or not. Find warrior two again. And then inhaling in warrior two. Exhaling, right hand down, pivoting to the ball of the foot, back foot, find a twist. Stay with the twist or come straight to side plank. To get yourself back on the mat, if you may, lift the left hip up, ribs in. Make sure you're stacking the joints though. Right shoulder blade presses into the upper back as well. Okay, left knee bends, draw it into the chest, look to the right foot, step the left foot forward. Find your runner's lunge, and then from there, hands down, step back. Downward facing dog or throwing in a vinyasa. So much for leaving them out on a Monday night. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And then exhale back. Downward facing dog, take 5 breaths. 1, calm your breath. 2, see if you can come back to Ujjayi breath, in and out through the nose. 3, 4, and 5. And then inhaling to look forward, step, hop, float or walk forward. And then exhale, forward bend. Inhale, come straight up into chair pose, Utkatasana. Sink the hips down, shoulder blades down the back. Gaze up, inhale. And then exhale and release. Okay, heel toeing the feet wider again and turning the toes out. So I'm coming down into yogi squat again, Malasana squat. Use whatever you need to make this work for you. We'll bring the hands to the heart center. Inhale, lift the chest, and then as you exhale, slowly come down. Make sure that the knees track out over the toes. Sit on a block if you need to. Don't come too low if it's not good for you. If it's easy, then don't just sink into the hips, lift up. Elbows on the inside of the knees. So you can start to think again about the heels drawing in towards each other, so you get that little bit of buoyancy in the hips, and then lift the chest. So you can feel that, can't you? If you draw the heels together, you feel a little bit more of a lift, and it gets easier briefly for a second. Okay, we're going to release the left fingertips down, inhale the right arm up for the twist. You can stay with this twist. If you're reasonably comfortable here, you might start to think about rotating the left shoulder forward, wrapping the arm around, and then seeing if you can bind there. So I don't know if you can see that very well, but from that twist, the left shoulder rotates forward, we wrap the arm around, and then the right hand comes all the way around, and then we can draw the right shoulder open. Let's try and keep that buoyancy in the hips, whatever you're doing. Inhale, exhale, back to center. Again, lift the chest, and then release the right hand down. Inhale, left arm up, come to that twist, stay there. Or rotate the right shoulder forward, wrap the arm around, go for the bind. If you can, draw the left shoulder open. Try and keep that buoyancy in the hips, so whatever it is you're doing. Still smiling. Inhale, and then exhale back to center, lift the chest. Maybe you'll take the arms up, and then we're going to come all the way up. Oof. And then exhale, release the arms down, okay? Shaking the legs out a little bit there if you need to. Okay, we're going to do a little bit on our standing balance before we come down. I've just seen the time, I could have kept going there. Okay, so come to mountain pose, feet hip width, outside edges of the feet parallel, stand up nice and tall. Feel the connection with your feet and the mat. And then take the weight into the left foot, come up onto the toes of the right. Inhale, float the right leg up. So it's as light as a feather, hold around the knee or the shin. Outer right hip drops down, stay as upright with the torso as you can, keep the shoulders relaxed. Okay, stay with that variation, or bring the left hand to your waist, first 2 fingers around the right big toe, and then come back upright. Keep this nice line of length at the front of the torso, whatever version you're going for, and then maybe you start to work towards straightening into that leg. Keep that outer right hip dropping down. Keep drawing the outer left hip in. Right shoulder draws back a little bit as well. So we're aiming to be as level with the shoulders as we can. We're keeping this length up the front of the torso. You can switch back to holding the knee if you want to, or inhale, exhale, knee or leg out to the side. Keep dropping the outer right hip down. Keep squeezing the outer left hip in. And maybe you gaze over the left shoulder as well. Try not to sink into that left hip, which is what I'm doing. And then inhale, come back forward with the leg or the knee, hands to waist, hold the leg out. Outer right hip still dropping down, elbows draw back. And then if you're feeling very brave, you can draw some circles with that foot, or not. And then release, well done. Shake the legs out. Other side. Little by little, it gets easier, doesn't it? Take the weight into the right foot. And then float up the left legs as light as a feather, holding around the knee or the shin to keep the shoulders relaxed. Okay, I know I'm a stuck record with this as well, but we tend to collapse the front of the body here. So keep as upright as you can to maintain that nice line. Okay, switching to first 2 fingers around the big toe if you want to. Make sure you don't start to collapse the front of the body, stay upright, right, the shoulder draws back. You can stay here, or you start to straighten into the leg. And then the outer left hip's dropping down, the right hip is squeezing in. We want to keep the pelvis as level as we can here. Don't buckle the standing leg either. Okay, you can go back to the knee if you want to, or inhale, exhale, kneel the leg out to the side. Outer left hip still dropping down. Hips are as level as you can get them. Outer right hip squeezes in as well. Maybe you gaze over the right shoulder. So there's that tendency to kind of let everything go, isn't it? And we want to keep everything drawing into the midline as much as we can. Inhale back to center, and then holding the leg out. And if you're really brave, drawing some circles with the foot. And then release, well done. Okay, shaking the legs out. And then it's time to make our way down to the mat. So I will come down through a sun salutation. You can make your way straight to downward facing dog if you want to, so completely up to you, of course. From the front of your mat, inhale, big circle. As we exhale, hinge forward. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale to find your way back, so downward facing dog or coming through a vinyasa of your choice with the knees, cobra or up dog, whatever. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale back. Downward facing dog, take 5 breaths. 1, so let your breath settle. 2, and try to really feel the whole of your body now in your downward facing dog. 3, have you still got that good contact with your hands on the mat? 4, and just dropping back down to the knees, taking the shins to one side, and then finding your bum. Bring the legs straight out in front of you, and taking the flesh away from your sit bones. And then straight away we'll bend the right knee and just cross it over. So I'm coming into like half cow face. So left foot as close, right foot even, as close to your left hip as you can. And then that right knee lowers down towards the left knee as close as you can. And remember, don't force it. So if it's over here at the moment, don't worry about it. It's just as close to that as you can. And then notice if you've collapsed the front of the torso. So find that nice lift again with the chest. Come onto the fingertips. Inhale, lift the chest even more. And then exhale, come forward to your degree here. So as always, it might not be very far. Doesn't matter. I find this really intense, this pose, so you might as well. Just remember, don't force it, don't worry about it. Be content wherever you are. Try to relax as much as you can where you feel that stretch. Maybe it's the outer right hip, maybe it's the back of the left leg. And then inhaling to push the floor away with the hands, come up. And then we'll come into that half Lord of the Fishes type of twist. So if you adjust that right foot now so that the sole of the foot is down, hook your left elbow around the right knee, bring the right hand behind you. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to rotate. Any amount from above the waist, inhale to lengthen, exhale to rotate. And again, inhale, lengthen, exhaling to rotate. Gazing last over the shoulder, as always. Okay, inhale to look forward, exhale to release, uncross, the left knee bends, bring the foot to the outside of the right knee, and then as close to the right hip as you can, relax that left knee down, and then adjusting, make sure that you haven't started to collapse the front of the torso, lift the chest, come onto the fingertips, and then inhale, lift the chest a bit higher, and then exhale, ease forward to your degree. So I know that I've said this to all of you before, probably at some point or other. This, to me, is much harder than the full version of this pose. And some of you will find the full version much harder. So it depends on what's your body shape, your bone structure. Basically, we all find our own things challenging, don't we? So it's always good to just be content with where you are. Not ever worrying too much about what the next person can do. Otherwise, we get nowhere, do we? Okay, and then on the next inhale, pressing the floor away to come up, and then we'll find that twist. So if you adjust this left foot now, so it's a little bit closer to the right knee and the sole of the foot comes down, and then the right elbow hooks the left knee, left hand comes behind. Inhale to find length, exhale, twist from above the waist. Inhale to find length, exhale, twist. Inhale to find length, exhaling to twist, and then turning the gaze last as always. And then inhale, look forward. Exhaling to release, well done, come down onto your back. Started off nice and slowly, didn't it? And then, okay, come down. And then once you get down, if you need to bring the knees in, bring the knees in. If you want to take a little bit of a twist, do that. And then when you're ready, find Savasana. So lying flat if you're comfortable to lie flat. Having the knees bent if that works better. And then start to relax. Well done, drawing your awareness back in. Softening your abdomen. Relaxing your facial muscles. Relax deeply behind your eyes as well. And just let go. Completely. Just for a few minutes. And now, slowly bringing your awareness back. Gently moving fingers and toes. Taking a nice long inhale, having a stretch, arms up overhead maybe, interlace fingers. Have a full body stretch. You could bend up your knees, bring them into your chest, give yourself a hug, take a twist. So whatever, any move, any stretch that feels nice. And then when you're ready, making your way to your right hand side. But take your time, no rush. Find your way to seated, any seated position, cross legs, not cross legs, whatever. And then we'll bring the hands together. Just taking a moment, relax your shoulders. Soften your facial muscles. And just observing the whole of your body as sensation. Just taking a nice long full inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Namaste. Thank you. Well done. Happy Monday. I hope we enjoyed. We're all still there, so it's a good sign. I'll see
you later.
Tomorrow. Yeah, folks.
Thanks, Caroline.
Good evening. Bye. Bye.